All right, so this is going to be the mirror transit. That's what I'm calling it. And it is involving something going on in the sky this week. It is Mercury, Mars, and then the asteroids Echo and Narcissus, and the moon. Okay, and they're all making this conjunction at 21 to 23 of Scorpio. So if you have any planets at 21 to 23 Scorpio, this is going to be affecting you. Now, I want to say that the lore, the myth that I'm going to be telling you about Echo and Narcissus is really not research. We have not researched it yet, although we could research it. And the reason I ended up looking at Narcissus, because I'm not really huge into the asteroids. I think they're wonderful and fascinating, but I haven't gotten too far into them because they haven't been researched, a lot of them. But someone is researching Narcissus a little bit. And so I look it up and I realize that Echo and Narcissus are actually conjunct in the sky this week, which I thought was really interesting. And they're not just conjunct each other, but they're also conjunct Mars and Mercury and then the moon. So it was like, wow, one thing on top of the other is a big deal. So let me explain to you first the story of Echo and Narcissus. So Echo had a beautiful voice and she loved to entertain Hera, who was the goddess of gods. And Hera got really tired of her one day from all her stories or her singing, and she cursed Echo. And she said, Echo, you will never be able to speak your own words again. What you're going to do is you're going to only repeat the last thing that someone said to you. So she was disheartened by this, and she went into the woods, and she was just in the woods, like echoing whatever was around her. And then there's Narcissus. And so Narcissus was a beautiful young boy. He rejected every one of the lovers that ever came to him. And he just felt like either he was too good for them or they weren't good enough for him. And so he rejected them, and he really hadn't found anybody that he fell in love with. So he was in the woods and he's walking along and he hears something behind him. And that was Echo. And Echo had saw him, immediately fell madly in love with him, and she was following him for some time. So she would follow him around and he hears something and he says, "Who's there?" And Echo replies, "There," because all she could do was echo the last thing. And that went around a couple times, "Who's there?" and "There." And then finally, she revealed herself and she tried to give Narcissus a big hug because she was so excited because she fell in love with him just from watching him. And he was like, no, I can't. And she was so disheartened. She was brokenhearted about it. So she decided, okay, so if you can't, then I'm going to fly away. So she flew away to the mountains where she ended up staying for the rest of her life until her body turned to dust. And it's said that you can hear her voice in the mountains when you hear the echoes, which is kind of hauntingly beautiful when you think about it. Now Narcissus was full of himself. And now Narcissus walked away, and at first he was untouched. But then the word got back to the goddess Nemesis, and she was really upset that she didn't think it was fair that Echo was punished and sent to a mountain so she could just turn to dust. So what Nemesis did to Narcissus was she wanted to punish him for his cruelty. So she took him to a pond and let him look at himself. Because the reason she did this is she knew that the seer, when Narcissus was born, the seer had said he will live a long life as long as he never knows himself. So Nemesis decided he's going to get to know himself. So this is ancient Greek, so they didn't have mirrors like they have now. So when Narcissus goes to the pool, he sees his reflection and he immediately falls in love. And he can't take his eyes off himself. He's that in love with himself. He just stares at himself all day long. So nobody was able to pull him away. He wouldn't go away. So he stayed there until the very end of his life, and he just fell in love with himself. And the eerie part of this is that he didn't actually even know he was looking at himself. He just thought what he saw was beautiful in the reflection of the pond. So the lore goes where he wasted away beside the water and was consumed by this illusion. And then after his passing, flowers bloomed where he had been, and we still call these flowers narcissus flowers. So you can see themes here, archetypal themes with these two stories, where Echo lost her voice, there was over-identification with others, emotional erasure, the pain of not being heard. Narcissus was into self-obsession, projection, emotional unavailability, the love of an image over something of substance. So the shared lesson here is that when someone silences their voice or someone's voice is silenced and the image is worshipped, there's connection is just gone, and the true self-awareness is required to have a real relationship. And either of those characters could have been able to do that had they had that ability to have true self connection through communication. So moving on to the next slide, I'm going to talk about Mercury, Mars, and the moon. Now, this is the circuitry that we're talking about. Mercury, is the messenger. Mercury is about our communication, right? Our communication, the way we actually have thoughts and communicate verbally going on. Mars is the heart behind the words. It's the heat behind the words. It's actually the drive of our words, right? So when Mercury and Mars connect together, there can be heat coming out of our words. It can come out forcefully, or it can come out in a way that is negative or bad, depending on what's going on in your life. The moon is the emotional impact. The moon brings the emotions from the past into the present moment, and then it allows you to deal with them in the present moment. Now, if you think about emotions, they're all from the past. We wouldn't have emotions if we were just a blank slate and we're just here. We wouldn't know. We wouldn't have emotions. But our past things that happen give us our emotions right now. So when the moon comes to this Mars and Mercury conjunction, it's going to bring an emotional element to it. So on Thursday, I'm thinking that's probably going to be what happens. There's an emotional outcome here going on Thursday. So here is the chart for the mirror transit. And I chose October 23rd, which is Thursday at 8 a.m. In the Eastern time zone of the USA. As you can see over here in the first house, we have this great big conjunction, but we also have it connecting to Saturn, and we have it connecting to Jupiter. So a lot of the chart is lit up in this particular on this particular day. And here's just a zoomed in picture. You can see Narcissus is at 21 Scorpio, Mars, Echo, the moon, and also Mercury is a couple degrees away. Mercury just passed all of these things. So it's just moving past it. So some of the things that we might think about when this is going on is that, where are you listening to the echo of other people? Where are you repeating the echo of other people and losing your own? Or have you been speaking or just repeating things? What reflections have caught you that you're staring into? What are you staring into? What reflections are you staring into? Are you able to seek validation from someone? Or maybe you can't, maybe you won't. What needs to be said clearly without hoping for a perfect response? I think these are all traits that we could look at during this time, so we could kind of understand, where are we in the place of Narcissus and also Echo. We do have the archetypes, all of them in us at different times. They're activated at different times. So we do have the energy of the, of these archetypes in us. So maybe you're more in a narcissist type of way where you're thinking I'm too good, or maybe you're more in an Echo way where you're just trying to echo someone else, or you're being pushed down by someone else and you don't want to go and fly away. Maybe you want to stand up and say no, right? I mean, that's a possibility too. So thank you for watching. I also want to invite you to the Cosmic Discovery Conference. It is in April 24th to 26th in 2026. I will be speaking there. I will be speaking on fixed stars and other things. And if you're interested in getting a reading or learning from me, I teach astrology, tarot, Reiki, and gemstones. And I also have a little gemstone shop. So you can check me out on the links are in the description, and the links to the conference will also be in the description. The conference will be really fun. It's going to be an evidence-based astrology conference, and I actually got the idea of looking at Narcissus this past week because I was in a meeting with evidence-based astrologers, and one of them was actually studying Narcissus. So of course, me being me, I had to go and look at what Narcissus was doing. So thanks for watching, and look at your chart and tell me what's going on with Echo and Narcissus in your chart. All right, have a good one.